and welcome to another video for Auto Solutions Checkpoint. We'll be doing a little update on the John Deere gator. So the battery has just arrived and I'm going to fill it up. Okay, so on Saturday I had a bit of difficulty with the John Deere gator, and whenever I was on my way back I took it a run up the woods down a pedestrian path. I took it a run up and back down again, and just before I got to the bridge, just before the yard, the clutch decided to seize and it cut out, and every time I went to start it was cutting out again. So I was deeply annoyed and deeply miffed as well at the time, because I wasn't sure what had happened. I'm not too fluent with these, but looking on the forums and talking to people on the Facebook pages and that, they were like, it sounds like the primary clutch. So I had a wee look. This is the only chance I've had today because I've been so busy to actually get a look at it. So what I'll do, I'll turn the camera around and I'll explain more. Get your engine's flywheel, right, and then it's a bit like a pulley, but this big tub here is your clutch. That's a primary clutch. Okay, right, so basically this was seized, right, and basically every time you went to put it in gear it was jerking and just cutting out completely, right. And this is your secondary one, I believe. It's got these here wee bits on it for moving in and out. So basically what I done was I come down, I started it and had a wee look and see if it was moving, because I can remember when I was looking at buying this, I noticed that this here moved in and out and it wasn't doing that. So while it was running, I know it's a bit unorthodox, but I stretched a wee hammer in here and just tapped that ever so slightly, just being so careful, because you only want to hit this bit, no any further, because you would end up taking your hand off. But giving it a few taps and it released. Now I'm not saying this is the problem solved, because it isn't, but it's freed it up and it's proved to me that the primary clutch is on the blink. Now for the bad news, right? The bad news is the part to replace it. The primary clutch is about 600 quid. Now, any of you know me know that I'm proper cringing at spending 600 quid on a wee thing like that. So I'm going to look into a rebuild kit and possibly do a rebuild on it. Now, I don't think what I've done has solved it, because obviously everything happens for a reason, and I'm not sure why that's happened, but obviously it's needing replaced. So I thought I would keep you updated with a wee video. I'm going to start it and explain to you about what this does. Okay, so as I was saying, when you rev this goes in. So I'm going to start it while you watch, okay? Primary clutch works its way in and out, and also the secondary clutch here, it works its way in and out, ensuring that it's engaged. And I'm assuming the wee lock button up here is for your diff lock as well. Now, I'm not saying this is solved, but I've got to the bottom of what's happened, and I can now confirm that it's the primary clutch that's gone on it, and it needs addressed, because we can't be having that. So my plan is now to get underneath it and have a little look at the brakes, because we've got a few binding brakes. And if any of you have a Sealy Premier jack, they are as slow as a week in the jail. They're supposed to be called a rocket lift. This is a replacement, because my other one has been back and forward like a yo-yo, supposedly fixed. I think they've took pity on me this time and just replaced it. Considering they had it for over a month the second time round, so I'm so glad that they've actually replaced it. But at the same time, I'm not glad that this has the same problem. You know, they have a real cheek to call it a rocket lift. You know, I don't know, it's just not quick enough for my liking, and it weighs an absolute ton as well. Right, we'll get a wee look at these and see what we can do with them, see if we can free them up. Whenever you jack these things up, always make sure, see if you're on a hill, just have something at the back wheel to stop it from rolling down. So 19mm. So we've took the wee horseshoe clips off, and it was just a case of getting the screwdriver and popping it out at the top. I'll just drop that, we can see where it is anyway. So now we've got these here off, we just need to get in behind it. Okay, I was totally convinced that I had the right Allen key for this, which I assumed it would be a V10, but it turns out it's an oddball size of a T9. A T9 I do not possess, can't find one anywhere. Even if I remotely thought I did have one, can't find one. Okay, so what I've used instead is a T55 Torex. You just need to tap it ever so slightly on, and then that there should enable you to get it loose via your ratchet. And just before it falls off, you want to be making sure that you've got a grip on it, because you do not want to damage your flexi. Now they're pretty rugged on these. This is what they use on the likes of off-roading Jeeps and stuff like that. You can get these from Milner Autos, I believe, but they come standard on the John Deere. So the pad condition is pretty rough, so I think we'll get a new set of pads ordered up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clean these up in the meantime, put them back on, because I can't have this holding up the runway of the garage. Okay, but I'm going to give these a wee quick clean up, and we're going to see if we can do anything with the caliper. I'm actually going to spray stuff on it now and leave it for a wee 15 minutes, let it soak in, and see if we can get this working. Because it has laid off the road from 2017, so I'm not expecting much, but if I can free this up, we'll be jamming. So remember folks, before you use one of these, make sure that you have goggles on. Now I do have a brake caliper wind back tool in the Jeep, but it's no good for this because it's too wee. Just kidding myself on. So basically what I'm going to do is clip it back on here, and I'm going to wedge like a wee chisel something in behind that and see if I can get that going back into place. Now I forgot to take these over to give them a wee clean up, but I can do that shortly. So these here don't need to be tightened in, you're only doing them just to hold it in place. Okay. You just need to find something thin enough to push down there and push the caliper in. It's just a socket that will fit over the chisel. As long as it fits over and it's not too loose and it's not too tight. Because you want to get it back at the end of it, you don't want to have to start having to break it. They seem to be being quite stubborn. Can see me having to take these off and pressurising them back, because I can't depend on that. So I've got it coated in grease, and what I'm going to do is, just with this and that, I'm going to put it on here and tap it ever so slightly and try and free it off. And I'll not be able to video and do this at the same time, so you get the general idea. Right, so we're back over at the wire wheel, just to clean the ends of these. So the caliper, I managed to move back and forward about 4 or 5 times. It's not great, but I'm going to put it all back together again and see what it's like when the wheels turned. Like obviously after braking, is it locking on or is it releasing? Because I'm interested in to see if it's still sticking. So just before I put the wee horseshoe clips on, I'm going to press the brake and see if it's releasing. So it's releasing, but it's not spectacular. So I think I'm just going to need to keep repeating the process. And then, I don't know, I think I'll just get new calipers, but I want to keep at this here the now, see if I can revive them. I'm just tightening these here ones back up. And then we'll put the wee horseshoe clips on. So there's an ever so slight bind to it, but it's well greased up, so I'm hoping with a wee bit of use to it, it's going to free it up a wee bit. I'm just going to continue the process on the other side. I've roughly got about an hour before I collect the wee man from nursery. Aye, I do. So that's what we're going to do. We'll do the other. Again, I'm just squeezing it up like what I've done the other side. We're going to mess about with the chisel or anything. Now I know a lot of you are cringing and raising your eyebrows, but my top priority is getting this freewheeling around the yard so that I can do proper work on it. I don't want it jamming. You just say, for instance, the clutch jammed again. To actually trying to move this here when the wheels were seized was an absolute nightmare. So I'll do it this way. It's my John Deere gator, and it's my choice. So whilst pumping the brake, I managed to get the piston coming out a good bit further forward, which is more progress than what we did on the other side. So fingers crossed we can save this one, because I don't really fancy fitting the bill for 4 calipers all round. But if I need to, I need to. Right, great success, I've got it moving. I'm just going to assemble this back up. Can't do more video on it because you've seen exactly what it's like at the other side. It's the same process, just on this side. Back wheel's now removed. I'm just going to continue the process. I'm going to free up the handbrake as well, because that's not doing what it should be doing. Just give this a good clean up, get the caliper off it. It's just going to be awkward getting it in here, but keep positive. You just keep your fingers crossed for me. So yesterday we ran into a bit of bother and I didn't have a V9 Allen key. I was using a T55 from memory. Now with the setup here, you can get the T55 in at the bottom, but at the top you can't. There's no way you can chop that in from behind. So that was the next dilemma. So I decided to get my finger out and go down to one of my shipping containers and have a wee look, and hey, I managed to find a V9. If I had done this yesterday, it would have been done. but hey ho. So we're just going to get the top one off and get stuck in about the calipers. Hopefully we'll get a handbrake as well, because the handbrake doesn't seem to be too healthy on this. So we're going to adjust the handbrake up as well. But we'll do all this here, but obviously at a later stage I'm going to put pads in it when it's coming up to the end of the project. But I'm going to put it on laps because it gets a wee bit boring after a while. Oh dear, this can only mean one thing. It's John Deere time! We're going to make a start on removing this window. It really could be doing with new perspex. To smooth all this here stuff down on the outside anyway. Just tidying it up a wee bit. The inside I'm not really going to get in there. It doesn't really bother me on how it looks on the inside. I'll be smoothing that down anyway to paint it. So before you start to do any grinding, make sure you've got your mask on. Yes, I've still got this hideous mask. It steams up and it does my head in. So instead of that, then cut your eye. So I've got some Scotch-Brite and I'm going to just key this area. I've really got to get myself some new recording equipment for doing this. The other side I got completed, painted black, and I've lost the video completely. I'll just take a wee walk around. A hell of a difference. So I'm just going to hold the camera so that we can see that it's recording. Okay, so I'm just hitting it with some black, just a wee dust coat to begin with. So much better now the window is back in. Just need to bolt it in now. These here ones are 13 mils that I've put on this time. It was a bit of a mix and match before. contemplating tidying the doors up and putting the doors back on as well, obviously, because we need to get it through an MOT, and I'm nearly sure these need to have doors on them for an MOT, but I'll need to consult a tester. So I'm going to have a go at making my own light board for the Gator. It had one, it was absolutely hideous, and I thought I would have a go at making my own one. And this is the one that came off it, so I'm just stripping it and dissecting the bits off it. I'll use a few bits, but I'm going to be making this black bar here one out of that black bar. The wee bits up here, I sanded them down, just give them a coat of paint to protect it. The brackets have now been installed. It does appear to look a bit better, especially with the black. Should have been that colour all along. Just feel like they've completely lost the plot when they were doing this. All the tools are cleaned up and tidied away, the garage is locked, and we're now going out on a run. Spatty dog. Love this wee thing. Amazing. We've now come to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed the story so far, and hope you continue to watch as I get it up to scratch. But I'll catch you in the next video. Please like, subscribe and share if you can. 10-10 over and out.